Christmas is a time for bringing people together from all walks of life. It is about spreading cheer wherever you can. But life doesn't always go our way, and many of us suffer hardships. We hope when we are hardest hit in those times that something or someone might turn things around. So here you go, a list of 7 Christmas miracles that really did happen. Baby arrives on Christmas without his mom ever realizing she was pregnant. Not all miracles involve people surviving against impossible odds. Sometimes they simply involve getting something you didn't even know you needed. When 21-year-old Lean Carter was hospitalized with severe stomach pains on Christmas Day, it was for what she thought was a particularly painful period. She'd felt bloated for most of the month, but there had been nothing else to indicate she was anything but a regular young adult in reasonable health. Hospital staff ran some quick tests on Carter, and the results gave her the shock of her life. It turned out she was not only pregnant, but also about to give birth. Like, right then and there. Let's back up for a moment and explain exactly how unexpected this was. Carter had had literally no physical symptoms of pregnancy in the whole 9 months. Her period had carried on as normal, and she felt nothing to suggest she might be carrying a whole new life in her. But there it was. Within hours of being hospitalized, Carter went from sick and frightened kid to happy yet surprised new mother. Her baby was born healthy, happy, and was apparently the best Christmas present ever. A Christmas truce. World War I was a violent, bloody conflict. According to some estimates, it claimed the lives of more than 20 million people and wounded a further 20 million over its 4-year span. But what does this have to do with Christmas miracles? On Christmas Day, 1914, hundreds of troops, who had spent months watching their friends die in the most horrific ways imaginable, spontaneously threw down their weapons and stopped fighting. There were no orders from above, no formal truce. That morning, Allied enlisted heard the words, "Merry Christmas." It wasn't from their fellow soldiers, but from across no man's land, the space between trenches. German soldiers had crossed the field to meet with their enemies. Of course, the Allied soldiers feared it was a trap. But seeing the other side unarmed, the Allied soldiers greeted their enemies. All along the battlefields of France, British, German, and French troops refused to fight. Instead they sang carols, traded gifts of cigarettes and pudding, and even played a game of soccer. According to the BDC, some troops refused to begin fighting again for weeks afterwards, instead letting the truce drag on into January. In the midst of the worst slaughter mankind has ever known, these scared and frightened kids still retained enough humanity to make sure everyone, French, British, and German, got the Christmas they deserved. If that isn't a miracle, then we don't know what is. Paralyzed boy with no spine walks again, just in time for Christmas. This one would sound like a textbook miracle. In 2008, 7-year-old Marco Dutschak had a cyst form along his back. In no time at all, the malignant growth had crushed his spine, leaving only a thread holding his entire back together. Doctors in his home country of Austria confidently predicted he would spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair, to which fate said, "Wanna bet?" A week or so before Christmas, Marco punched medical knowledge in the face by getting out of bed and going for a walk. Just to illustrate how unbelievably unlikely this was, here's a quick list of everyone who has managed to repeat Marco's feat since. Nobody. And that's it. This kid shrugged off a spine-destroying injury like it was nothing, flouting the predictions of every specialist in Europe and doing it just in time to give his mom the best Christmas present ever. Either it's a miracle or Marco is goddamn Wolverine. Woman that should have frozen to death survives, only a little chilly. By all accounts, the story of Donna Molnar should be a bleakly tragic one. After setting out for the local store in her native Canada one Christmas, Donna got caught in a fierce blizzard and simply vanished. Her SUV apparently got lodged in a field somewhere, and without any winter clothing or means of heating, her chances of survival were assumed to be remote. So when a member of the search party came across a woman lying in a snowdrift 3 days after Donna went missing, he naturally assumed the worst. Only the half-buried woman turned out to be totally alive. That's right, somehow, unbelievably. Donna Molnar had survived 72 hours in temperatures that would kill most mortals, a great part of it literally lying in a snowdrift. She escaped with only hypothermia and mild frostbite, a bit like if a house fall on you and only caused a slight headache. Everybody walks away from a horrible Christmas Day pileup. With all the travel, ice, and general drunkenness, most of accident happen on the road, and frequently one shat's bad driving is enough to ruin Christmas for multiple families. But occasionally, God glances down at these unfolding catastrophes and decides not today. Last year, a combination of freezing rain and bad driving caused a 21-car pileup outside Oklahoma City on Christmas Day. It was described as a major accident, with trucks jackknifing, cars smashing into one another, and all hell generally breaking loose. Want to guess how many fatalities and serious injuries this major smash-up caused? Absolutely none at all. Despite people plowing into each other with 2 tons of speeding metal on an ice-slicked road, not a single serious injury was reported. For a high-speed smash to not result in death in even the most favorable circumstances is highly unlikely. On a frozen road in the middle of the night is, well, a miracle. Maybe God just has a secret soft spot for Oklahoma. Letter to Santa answered, we have all been in a place in our lives when things were not going well. At the very least, we have seen friends or loved ones in that tough spot. It is truly awful when someone hits a rough patch and cannot provide for a family, especially children. Well, that is where Rosa Cardenas de Reyes was during Christmas 2011. Since her husband had been unemployed for a stretch of time and they couldn't afford a real Christmas, she decided to continue a family tradition of sending letters to Santa via balloon. She had her daughter write the letter about what she wanted for Christmas before her daughter waved goodbye to the balloon. As it turns out, the letter knew right where to go: Northern California. The paper landed on a ranch belonging to Lane Sanderson. He was riding an ATV along with his son when they came upon the letter. After having a ranch hand translate the words, Sanderson knew just what to do. He called the Reyes family and informed Rosa that they had found the letter. Lane's wife, Julie, went out with her own daughter to pick out clothes and a doll before sending the items via express to the Reyes family. Thanking the family profusely, Rosa spoke to interviewers through tears of joy. I was very much surprised. It is like a miracle happened, a Christmas miracle. Lost dog travels 1,000 kilometers. Most of us have panicked at the prospect of losing a pet, whether it is a dog, a cat, or even a turtle. Being responsible for an animal's well-being makes it that much more worrisome. Ashley Power from Spruce Grove, Alberta, was unfortunate enough to lose her dog, Frankie. She remained in that horror for 5 whole months as she sent flyers hundreds of miles away in hopes of being reunited with her pet. When she had given up all hope of finding him, she received a call from the Langley Animal Protection Society. As it turns out, they had found Frankie running around Abbotsford, British Columbia, which is over 1,000 kilometers away. Unfortunately, Power did not have the means to put Frankie on a flight. So the LAPS got help from a truck driver to return the dog such a distance, and he was happy to do so. Ecstatic to have her dog back just before the holidays, she said to an interviewer, "It was a Christmas miracle for us, absolutely.